Good afternoon, class. Today I'll be starting with section B, World History, according to your reduced syllabus. And I'll be starting with the chapter 7. As I've already taken some of the topic, I have already explained some of the topic from this chapter. And today I'll be starting with the new topic, which is according to your reduced syllabus. So section B, World History, Chapter 7, World War II. So I'll be starting with a new topic. It's on page number 108 in my book. So please check the page number in your book. Anglo-French appeasement policies. So what is the meaning of appeasement? The meaning of appeasement. So what does the word mean? Word appeasement mean? So appeasement is a diplomatic policy of making political or material concession to an army power to avoid war. So this appeasement policy is a diplomatic. Appeasement is a diplomatic policy for making political or material concession for any enemy, so they can avoid war. So the term is often applied. The term appeasement is often applied in the foreign policy, and actually appeasement policy was followed by Britain, and later on it was followed by France. The purpose of this policy, why the Britain follow this appeasement policy is Britain want to avoid a war with some of the aggressive powers such as Germany, Italy, and Japan. So Britain, in order to avoid war with aggressive power like Germany, Italy, and Japan, Britain followed this appeasement policy. So as Britain avoid this policy by giving away to their demands, which was provided demand which was not too unreasonable. So the Anglo-French appeasement policy was largely appeasement policy was largely responsible for the outbreak of the Second World War. So there are some two distinct phases of appeasement. So as this Anglo-French appeasement policy was the main reason for the breakout of Second World War, and there are two distinct phases of appeasement. First is in mid-1920s till 1937. So this appeasement policy was seen during the Davis and Young plans and tried to appease government. So the British used this appeasement policy as it was seen during the Davis and Young plan, which they tried to appease Germany because why Britain followed this appeasement towards Germany, because after the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was badly humiliated, and this Davis and Young plan helped Germany a lot. So during the period, there was a vague feeling that war could be avoided at any cost. So during that period, as Germany was not in a proper condition, so there was a vague feeling, and they wanted to avoid war at all costs. So gradually Hitler avoided the clauses of Treaty of Versailles. So even Hitler Hitler totally violated the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles, which was signed in 1919, and even Treaty of Versailles along with the Locarno Pact in 1925. In this situation, as Hitler gradually violated the clauses of Treaty of Versailles. Why Hitler violated the Treaty of Versailles? Because this Treaty of Versailles was a very humiliated to Germany, because Germany had to pay war reparation which was beyond their budget. So and even the Locarno Pact. So in this situation, League of Nations became helpless, and Britain thus followed the policy appeasement towards Germany, and even Chamberlain that then tried to settle disputes by personal contact with the leaders of Germany and Italy. So Chamberlain, his full name is Neville Chamberlain. Then Chamberlain tried to settle the disputes by personal contact, and now he was using personal contact with the leaders of Germany and Italy. So during 1933 and 39, Hitler completely destroyed the democratic situation at home and started the progress of Nazification of Europe. So during 1933 to 39, Hitler completely destroyed this democratic situation and even started Nazification on Europe. And the decisive policy and the decisive point of Hitler was supporting Mussolini Abyssinian adventure. The Italian victory at Abyssinian, as Italy also got victory at Abyssinia, and it gave a great blow to the League of Nations, because the action of Italy proved ineffectiveness of collective security system. Actually, Britain and France were militarily and economically prepared for war, and were as Britain and France, they were not militarily and economically prepared for war, and they were very anxious to avoid any action which may provoke Italy into war between them. So they are not, as Britain and Italy, they were not militarily as well as economically prepared for the war. So even they are anxious to avoid any action which may provoke Italy into war with them. So Germany and Italy intervened in the Spanish Civil War. So even Germany and Italy, they intervened the Spanish Civil War on the pretext to save Spain for communist Russia. Here again Anglo-French power failed to prevent Germany and Italy. So by the Treaty of Versailles, Rhineland had been declared demilitarized zone, ignoring these clauses of treaty. So by the Treaty of Versailles, Rhineland had been declared demilitarized zone. Demilitarized zone means the particularly zone were not used for any military purposes. So ignoring these clauses of treaty, Germany ignored the clauses of the treaty, and she occupied Rhineland. And at the point, England and France would have been taught, England and France, they had taught Germany a lesson, but instead, England and France, they gave Hitler a chance to increase the power at home. So in March 1938, Hitler occupied Austria Anschluss in 1938, and Britain and France protested, only to reveal their weakness of Britain and France. Actually, appeasement led Hitler to believe that even this appeasement policy led Hitler to believe that no power or no country can oppose Hitler. So even Hitler opposed his expansionist policy, and now Hitler began to claim Danzig and Polish corridor was more, as this Danzig and Polish corridor was more reasonable than to claim on Sudetenland. It was difficult for Britain and France to defend against Hitler's aggression. So it was difficult to Britain and France to defend Poland, but the case of Czechoslovakia was very different, and Chamberlain now should have backed the Czechs against aggression. But at Munich, Chamberlain followed a policy of appeasement. It was agreed that Sudetenland would be handed over to the Germany immediately. So, but in Munich, Chamberlain followed a policy of appeasement, and it was agreed that the Sudetenland was it would be handed over to Germany immediately. So Germany, along with three powers, guaranteed the rest of Czechoslovakia, which was on verge at that time. Next distinct phase was in 1937 onwards. In 1937 onwards, Chamberlain became the Prime Minister of England, and he wanted to give policy a new character or new form. So his policy was to find out that whether Hitler wanted and convinced him reasonable claim, and both Chamberlain and Hitler will discuss the matter rather by using force. The first factor is Britain and France were not willing to fight against the combined strength of Germany, Italy, and Japan. So both France and Britain, they are not willing to fight or war against the combined strength of Germany, Italy, and Japan. Next is unreliability of the military strength of France was one of the most important causes. Next is even the English people were apprehensive, means the fear. The English people now they are in fear that about the spread of communism in Russia in their country. Fourth point is even Chamberlain wanted to take time to strengthen British defense. So Britain had never much showed their influence on the Central Europe, and it was an area where Britain could only have acted by in a proxy manner. So although Britain had a very vast empire at the time, but though it has a very vast empire, but it is weak in Europe. So Chamberlain favored the policy due to economic problems that arisen after the Great Depression, such unemployment rate. So even Chamberlain favored the policy of appeasement due to the economic policy which has arisen after the Great Depression. Such even there was a high rate of unemployment were seen during that time. So the financial condition was sound, but economic problem led to military weakness in the country, and virtually Britain had no air force. Even the army and navy were insufficient in Britain. So Chamberlain wanted to take time to strengthen the defense of the country. Next point is another cause for Anglo-French failure to interfere during Japan attack on China, Italy aggression on Abyssinia, and Germany occupation on Paraguay. So important cause for the Anglo-French revolt was there was an intervention in Japan's attack on China, and Italy's aggression on Abyssinia, and even Germany's occupation on Paraguay. Thus, the Anglo-French appeasement policy encouraged Hitler again and again, jeopardized the balance of power in Europe, and thus precipitated the sound of the war. So, thus, the Anglo-French appeasement policy encouraging Hitler and Germany again and again. Even Hitler threatened the balance of power, threatening the balance of power in Central Europe, and thus this Anglo-French appeasement policy, it's precipitated, means it's given the blow. It's given the blow for the Second World War. So this is the end of this topic. So in the next class, I'll be starting with a new topic. That's all for today. Thank you.